come back and sit down. Keep in mind those you missed so you can talk to them at coffee hour afterwards. And I'm going to invite you to stand now for the opening song. Now, this is not difficult. You're going to pick up on it right away. It's pretty jazzy, but just hop right in and make as much noise as you can so that it sounds like there's twice as many of us here. This is Reverend Karen Mitchell, and the song is My Good.
My good is my God is my good. All the good there is belongs to me. My good is my God is my good. All the good I seek belongs to me. That's my truth with a capital T. It's all about living free. My good is my God. My good is my God. I have all I ever need. My good is my God. My good is my joy. My joy is my good. All the joy there is belongs to me. My good is my joy. My joy is my good. All the joy I seek belongs to me. That's my truth with a capital T. It's all about living free. My good is my God. My good is my God. I have all I ever need. My good is my God. My good is my love is my good. All the love there is belongs to me. My good is my love is my good. All the love I seek belongs to me. That's my truth with a capital T. It's all about living free. My good is my God. My good is my God. I have all I ever need. My good is my God. 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 La 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 la. My good is my God. My good is my God. My good is my God. My good is my God.
And we're going to sing this for a while, so you know it now. You can sing it out if you want.
My good is my God.
Yes, you may be seated. That's the Ministers Band, and they did this for us at our Ministers Annual Convocation a couple of years ago, I think maybe 2019 even, and then the videos were shared. So I wanted to share that one with you this morning. Now go ahead and silence your cell phones, or if your watch rings, silence it, so that it won't disturb us during the service. And we will go into our opening meditation. So Rick Walt is our prayer practitioner this morning, and as we enter into this, I would like for you to just close your eyes and let the music bring you into the sacred space so that you are open to the prayer that is going to begin.
In this very room, Emerging from the silence, I invite each and every one of us here and online to go within and increase each of our awarenesses of that singularity of energy that we call God, Spirit, Yahweh, Allah. That we center that energy in our hearts, in our minds, and welcome the light of our being, the light that is love, the light that is compassion, the light that is forgiveness, the light. Let there be light. And right here, right now, I invite each and every one of us to embrace that light in our hearts. For that is truly who we are. The light of love, the light of compassion. And I invite us to extend that love, that light, to all our brethren in the world, throughout the world, as we bring peace to the world. I know this is true. And I plant these words, into that creative law of mind, where the seeds have been planted and Spirit is already doing the work. And with that, I step aside, and together we say, and so it is.
So I just want to say a little something about the music before we go into the major song, before the talk. As I said, the group together that you saw is the Ministers Band, and different ministers were featured throughout the week. The song you heard in the meditation is actually from the choir in Santa Rosa in about 1990. So that's a recording from a very long time ago. But you're going to be hearing these different things throughout. So the musicians are cooperating together. Whoever is featured wrote that particular song and is performing it live, and we have permission to use them all. So just so you don't have to worry about any of that. So I want to thank these people whose music we are enjoying this morning. And now, here's the next one.
I was just a child, and Spirit came to me. Said, girl, you have things you are meant to do, so lean on me. There have been times when I thought I wouldn't make it through, but that's when Spirit would turn my head the other way and have me sing to you that if I believe, I can. I know that if I can see it, God has a plan, and I will get to the end of my life and be proud of the race I ran. 'Cause if I believe, I can. Following my dreams, I've often felt alone. But each time I was wandering, thinking I was lost, I would be sure home. And now I stand here, I know I am right where I'm supposed to be. And I will hold to the truth God has given me. Now that I see that if I believe, I can. Oh, I know that if I can see it, God has a plan. And I will get to the end of my life and be proud of the race I ran. 'Cause if I believe, I can.
There was a time when I couldn't go on and I tripped and fell. Oh, I was down, full of pain, misunderstanding, closing in, nowhere to go. But where I landed, wait, that's when I heard a voice in me. It filled me up. It said, believe in yourself, what you're here to do. You got no more excuses. When you follow what's true for you, I was raised up. I was made new. Now I'm standing here right in front of you to speak, to give you the words that were given to me. 'Cause nothing can stop you if you believe.
Others may say that I am wrong. What can they know when I know that if
There was a time when I couldn't go on and I tripped and fell. Oh, I was down, full of pain, misunderstanding, closing in, nowhere to go. But when I landed, wait, that's when I heard a voice in me. It filled me up. It said, believe in yourself, what you're here to do. You got no more excuses. When you follow what's true for you, I was raised up. I was made new. Now I'm standing here right in front of you to speak, to give you the word that was given to me. 'Cause nothing can stop you. If you believe, yeah, I was raised up. I was made new. Now I'm standing here right in front of you to speak, to give you the word that was given to me. 'Cause nothing can stop you. If you believe, yeah, to give you the word that was given to me. 'Cause nothing can stop you.
I can.
Yeah, aren't they fabulous? So much fun. We've had a good time this morning trying to match up all these different songs and their volumes that come from different sources. So, some of these may sound a little better than others. Let me just say that. I do want to say, before I begin on the talk this morning, I want to extend a congratulations to Kate and Anthony and their newborn daughter, 2 weeks old, Bailey, who are here this morning. And Bailey's a little tiny angel, so we're so delighted to have her here. That new little beings shed light in the world like nobody else. It's just, we're always in awe of them. It never changes. So we're so happy to have you here this morning for as long as Bailey thinks it's okay. So we are this year following the theme of living from the heart of wonder, living our life outwardly from that place where we're willing to be awed or surprised or delighted or whatever it might be, so that we can be in wonder at the amazement that's available to us in the world. And so this month I've been talking about the heart of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living and the values that we chose ourselves as a congregation a couple of years ago that we felt most represented who we were and who we want to be. And I've been speaking about them every week as we go along: spiritual growth, love, community, and this morning, integrity. So I want to take a moment just to review. So spiritual growth is an ongoing personal experience of awakening to the divine. So it's happening all the time. It's personal to each one of us. We may share some things together, but it's personal. And it's about awakening to the divine in everything, everywhere, always. Love, for us, is open-hearted connection given with warmth and kindness. We want to be able to do that to everyone that we meet, beginning with ourselves. And community, who are we as a community? A welcoming place of belonging, where spiritual growth is supported and shared. A place where it's safe to be ourselves, and that leads us into integrity, which is living honestly, keeping your word, and showing up as your true self. So our intention, our desire here at Golden Gate is to provide the kind of experience that allows us to feel safe, to discover and live as our authentic selves all the time. Last week I talked about how difficult it is to try and fit in, which is not the same thing as belonging, to try and adapt ourselves to fit in, instead of feeling a part of something, feeling both welcomed or being actually welcomed and also letting ourselves feel welcomed, both. When we talk about integrity, I know I've shared this little story, but I just love it. One Sunday morning, a minister announced to his congregation, now next week, I'm going to be preaching on the sin of lying. So I want to help you prepare, for that sermon. So I'd like you all to read chapter 17 in the Gospel of Mark to prepare for next Sunday. So the week went by. The next Sunday, he got up, and as he got ready to begin his sermon, he asked for a show of hands. How many of you got a chance to read Mark chapter 17? And every hand went up. He said, good, well done. There were only 16 chapters in the book of Mark. And so now for my sermon on the topic of the sin of lying. Authenticity, integrity, honesty, being truthful, all of that, living in alignment with that is our, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Can I go back? Let's see if I can. Yeah, that's our intention. So my message this morning is we can't fool the universe. We might fool ourselves sometimes. We might fool other people into thinking that we're being authentic when we really aren't, or that we're in integrity or telling the truth when we actually aren't. We may fool all kinds of people, but we can't fool the universe. It sees right through all that stuff. There used to be, in the 1970s, a commercial for a particular margarine, and Mother Nature would come out, and she would think that this was actually butter, and then she'd find out that it wasn't, and she would say, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature, and there would be a thunderclap. Well, you may be able to fool Mother Nature in that instance, but we can't fool her in general. What we are and who we are, it shows up. As Emerson said, and this is a paraphrase, that who we are speaks so loudly that people can't hear what we're saying sometimes. And at other times, we're really good at pulling the wool over their eyes. The saddest is when we pull the wool over our own eyes. So what we want to be able to do is live honestly as who we truly are, and to keep our word and show up as our true selves. There's something to be said for that process of discovering if we're trustworthy or not, or if we aspire to be trustworthy. You know, I can remember in one of the later Harry Potter movies, Dumbledore has actually caused his own sort of future demise by something that he's done that was foolish, because he was trying to exert a particular kind of power that was opposed to the activity of the universe and himself. And he said to Harry something like, "I have proven to myself that I cannot be trusted with power." And that's why he didn't want to be the director of the Ministry of Magic. Abraham Lincoln said, "Nearly all men can stand adversity. If you want to test a man's character, give him power." And in Proverbs it says, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." In other words, we're safe when we're in that place. You know, you don't have to remember much if you tell the truth. You just have to tell the truth every time. You don't have to try and think, who did I tell this to and who did I tell that to? So when we're looking at the process of creation, the essence of everything that is and of all of us, we want to be in that zone of lived integrity, which means living in alignment with the universe and with our own essence. You know, there is a slide in the show that shows before the Sunday morning service begins, where the principle of reciprocity is shown as a guy throwing a boomerang. Because what we put out into the universe returns to us, no matter what it is. It can be good, it can be neutral, it can be negative, it doesn't make any difference, but it has our stamp on it. And so it comes back to us. And that's a great service of the universe, to bring those things back to us so we can look at them and say, is this who I want to be? Is this working for me in the world? Because usually when the universe comes back and gives you that smack, it kind of lets you know, yeah, no, not really working. Not really working so well. Dennis Waitley said, "A life lived with integrity, even if it lacks the trappings of fame and fortune, is a shining star in whose light others may follow in years to come." When my son was 9 years old, he was part of a group of kids from his school that were going to Mexico with the school. They were going to be in homestays in Mexico, and Luke was the youngest kid going, 9 years old. His dad, who was up in Seattle, because we were divorced, his dad had sent some money for Luke to use when he went to Mexico and just to have a great time. So we get to the airport. We're there with all the kids and their parents and everything. We've got a passport for Luke. We've got his ticket. We got everything except a physical letter from his dad saying that I had permission for Luke to go on this trip out of the country because we had joint custody. So they asked me at the counter if I had this letter, which I didn't know I needed. And I said no, but he did send money for Luke to go. He said, "Well, I'm sorry." I said, "We can call him." No, that wouldn't work. "You got to have the letter, unless you have sole custody," he said to me. And I'd already told him we had joint custody. "Unless you have sole custody." So we walked away from the counter, and I thought, what do we do here? He already knows if I tell him I have sole custody that that's not true. And how do I tell my 9-year-old he can't go on this trip because of this, when there is no disagreement between his dad and me about this? There's no problem. and all I have to do is tell him that I have sole custody. I really did not want to do that because I felt like it was out of integrity for me to say what I knew wasn't true and he knew wasn't true, but I did. I went back up to the gate and I said, I have sole custody, so he can go. The guy said, fine. They put everything through. I still remember that because it bothered me so much that I felt, to be fair to my son and to acknowledge what was really happening in our family, the only thing I could do was lie. And it still doesn't sit right with me. I told Paulette's son, she and Michael's son put together the training that we used to do, the personal growth training that all the churches used to do that was based on the teachings of Ernest Holmes. They created that. And I had a conversation with her later about that because she's all about integrity. And I said, what else could I have done? It really bothered me that I was put in that position. And she said, well, you didn't do it to defraud anybody, to harm anybody. You didn't do it as an intentional lie. There was no fault here, no negatives here. It still bothers me. So for what it's worth, we all come into situations in our lives where for one reason or another, we have to confront, am I going to tell the truth about this or not? Am I going to be authentic in this moment or not? And if it's only about, will it get me into trouble if I tell the truth? And then thinking I want to fudge on that, that's when I'm really getting out of alignment with my own essence there, In this case, it was a little bit different. Brene Brown said, integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. It's one thing to say we believe something. It's another thing to stick to that when it's not easy, right? I mean, you all know that. How many of you in here have kids? Yeah. So we have to teach them by who we are to live in integrity, even when it isn't easy. And that can be tricky. H. Jackson Brown Jr. said, live so that when your children think of fairness, caring, and integrity, they think of you. That is the desire. That's the goal. That is the heart of the matter. Because when we're doing that, we're showing them that it can be possible to tell the truth even when it's scary, to stand in that authenticity and be committed to being truthful, even when it isn't easy or we might get ourselves into trouble. And when they see us do that and wrestle with it and make a decision and explain to them why we made the decision that we made, all of those things become their own raw material for constructing their own values in their own lives as they get older. We want to be that. So integrity is our compass. It's like our part of our conscience. It is our own values that point us toward true north, whatever that is for us. Our personal integrity is our compass that orients us toward our true north, where we're in alignment with our own essence, our own beingness. Rex Tillerson was one of the secretaries of state in the last administration. He got fired. At one point, he said this about integrity in a speech he gave someplace, I think. He says, one of Merriam-Webster's definitions of integrity is the state of being complete and whole. He says, as a civil engineer, I've always liked that definition because I can relate to it through structural integrity, the state of being complete and whole. And if a building, this is not his words but mine, if a building is in structural integrity, it's safe. You don't have to worry about it in earthquakes and things like that. It has an integrity to it that allows it to be safe within the geographical region that it's in because it's built to withstand the stuff that happens in that area, hopefully. So he says, the structural integrity of this building We know it has a complete and whole integrity, so we can feel comfortable sitting beneath these beams and this roof that is not going to end up at our feet as we sit here. Integrity is a crucial building block of trust and cooperation. It makes it possible for different people of different organizations to work together to solve the world's most complex problems, regardless of industry, project, and task. Integrity frees us to innovate, collaborate, and share over the long term. I really am impressed with that encapsulation of integrity, because what it does is it opens us up to the recognition that there is a power in our own integrity. Now, this gal is not really a Bond girl. She just has positive words all over her: trustworthy, trusting, wise, tender, valuable. I loved that she had all of those words all over her. But the power of integrity, it works from the inside out, and it works from the outside in. So when we are trusting, then we too experience confidence in the goodness of the universe. If we're trustworthy, what that means is if we are trustworthy, and we know that we are trustworthy, it's easier for us to trust other people. If we are trusting, then that opens up our confidence also in the universe, trusting that the universe and God are trustworthy. And also, it becomes an invitation for other people to trust us, because they see that we do what we say we'll do, that we're honest with them, that we take responsibility when we screw up. They know where we stand, and that we will either do what we've said or will communicate if we didn't or can't for some reason. If we are untrustworthy, then we're truly isolated, because we can't trust anyone else, and we know they can't trust us. So even if we have allies, they're going to be not maybe quite as committed to us as we would hope, because they don't know when we're going to pull the rug out from under them. And we have trouble trusting them, because we know the same is true over there. I mean, if they would trust us and we're not trustworthy, how trustworthy could they be, right? So we don't trust them 100% because we don't know when they're going to pull the rug out from under us. It's a mess. Is this making sense, what I'm saying to you? It can be difficult for us to live in that kind of authenticity all the time, because sometimes it entails greater risks. You know, until very recently, relatively speaking, in our country, and certainly in some places in the world already, if you're gay or lesbian, you could die just because of that. You don't have to do anything, you know, or even if somebody were to suspect that of you, your life could be in danger, whether it were true or not. And that's still true in some places in the world. So then the question begins, where can I be authentic? How safe is it? Is my life in danger if I'm authentic? I think about those people who took the risk to hide Jews in their houses during the Holocaust over in the countries that were being overrun by Nazis. When the Nazis came to their homes, these people who were not Jewish, and there were Jews under the floor, and they were asked if they had seen Jews or if there were any Jews around that they knew of, or were their neighbors, you know, hiding Jews, and they said no. They always said no. They didn't turn these folks in. I mean, maybe some of them did, I don't know. Maybe they got so scared that they did, but people said no, knowing that if they were caught, they might be killed too. And yet they said no. That's actually, for me, another kind of integrity. It wasn't truthful, but it was another kind of standing in truth, a larger truth. Does that make sense, what I'm saying to you? It's so powerful that that was something that they did. Albert Einstein said, "Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters." And our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, "Peace comes from the absence of fear, from a consciousness of trust, from a deep underlying faith in the absolute goodness and mercy, the final integrity of the universe in which we live, and every cause to which we give our thought, our time, and our attention. The integrity of the universe. So if all emerges out of that one mystery, the infinite presence, God, Allah, Yahweh, the Great Spirit, the Nameless One, the Tao, whatever it is that resonates with you, if there is one, it has to be in integrity with itself or it would be self-destructive. If there is one, and we're all created from that, then in order to be in alignment with ourselves, we too have to be in integrity, or there is something self-destructive going on. And the messages that come back from the universe will remind us again and again that this is really not working. And the more we ignore those messages, the bigger they get. The more confrontive they get, the more difficult they get, the more likely we are to have some kind of public humiliation or something as a result of those sorts of things that escalate in our lives. Many years ago, in the Santa Rosa Church, I had a member who actually was on my board, a businessman, and he had worked with another businessman in the church and had learned some of the ropes locally from him, and then stole his clients. And Reverend Carroll said to him at one point, you know, the law of cause and effect, that works no matter what. If you're putting out, you know, stealing clients and cheating, that's going to come back around. And he said, oh, Carroll, it's just business. When we're willing to cheat, to lie, to steal, to tell untruths about other people, those things are connected to us. They belong to us. It means that we will be taken from. We will be gossiped about. We will be lied to. We will be cheated. It can't work otherwise. It may not show up in a way that we recognize is connected to what we did. Do you know? It doesn't necessarily come back from the same place we put it out to. So when we as a spiritual community say that it's important for us to live in integrity, what that means is that we want to live in such a way that we're trustworthy, that we tell the truth, that we meet our obligations, or we renegotiate, or we discuss, and that we want to treat one another that way as well. So one of the things that we have been working on doing at Golden Gate is renegotiating our lease here for the Masonic, and we wanted to do that by the end of last year, but it really didn't work out for the Masons, and so we just got the lease recently, but they wanted a response from us really quickly, and it was more expensive than what we were expecting or thought we could manage. So we asked for a little more time, but that didn't work for them. So today is our last Sunday here. We are, during this week, between now and the 31st, which is Thursday, going to move all of our stuff that came here back to the Corte Madera Community Center on Tamalpais in Corte Madera. We were there for 27 years, you know. They've been very happy to have us come back. They're, you know, working on everything to make it all right, to get the contract out to me by Monday and all of that, to work with us, to allow us in, to move our stuff back, and we're going to scramble around this week. So any of you able-bodied people who can make yourself available on Wednesday afternoon, do we know what time? Rick? 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon meeting here? Okay, so Dana, Jim, and Rick over there are kind of coordinating this. Please talk to them if you can help. We need as much help as possible to reduce the number of trips that have to be made and all the schlepping. And we will, so that means that next Sunday our membership meeting will also be there after the service. So we'll have our morning celebration service, and then we'll have our annual meeting there. So if you're a member, You got your packet in the email of information for the meeting. The first thing is the agenda, and it says the meeting is here because that was done before this change happened. So if you print that out, cross that out on your agenda, it's at the Corte Madera Community Center on Tamalpais Boulevard. So we will be there next Sunday at 10 a.m. And part of our saying to the Masonic, thank you, we got to go, that's not going to work for us, and then scrambling around to get hold of the community center and having them, scramble around to get this together for us, this was another way of us living in integrity and expressing authentically what's true for us, what we need, what works, what doesn't work, and what we need to do about that if things don't mesh. Does that make sense? And so we want you to know we're very grateful for having had this space since the middle of July. We're grateful for everything the Masons have done to allow us to be here at Ross Valley Masonic Center, the lights, the screens, the beefed up Wi-Fi, and we trust that all of that is going to serve them well with all the other folks that are going to want to rent here. I'm pretty sure they probably have other people asking them for Sunday morning already. So they won't be missing people for long here. But everything got perked up real fast to accommodate us, and so, they can have the enhancements all available for other people who are coming here. And we will go back and readjust and remember how we did things over there so we can hopefully get that working well for next Sunday. But that's part of the process of trying to live the values that we speak of, to actually apply them, to apply spiritual growth. This was certainly an opportunity to practice patience as things needed to evolve yesterday. And I was, and Friday, and I was calling people, and I was, emailing people and all that, to practice our own spiritual growth in learning patience, to practice love, to practice community, recognizing that the Masonic and the community center are part of our community that we've been part of, and living from a place of integrity. So that's the process that we've been through over these last weeks and months, and that's where we've landed. So I want to invite you to turn within with me now as we bless the path we're on and these values that we claim for ourselves as a community. Breathing deeply, breathing in and out the divine presence. We know that this one is all there is. It is present in this place. It is present in the Masonic people that are connected to Ross Valley Masonic Center and to the Masons everywhere. It is true of the Corte Madera Community Center and all of its staff. It's true of the space and of this space. It's true of our altars and our hearts. And it's true of us as a spiritual community that we are whole and one and infinitely connected in God. There is no separation. There's only one. And we are that. The essence of this one is love and creativity, compassion, peace. So we claim these great qualities right here and now for ourselves. We anchor them in our hearts. We let them guide us throughout this week, knowing that they are immediately available as we call upon them. And we're deeply grateful that this is true now, and it continues to be true right through our move and through our reestablishing ourselves in Corte Madera. We're very grateful to remember this truth, to know it, to live from it. So we release this word into the creative law, knowing that it is active immediately upon it. We are deeply grateful. We let it go. We let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes, and I want to invite you to stand and affirm with me now our morning affirmation. The divine presence of the universe knows me inside and out. It reflects my attitudes, beliefs, and behavior back to me. I learn from this and aim to act from the highest self I am. Yes, you may be seated. So this is our time of sacred giving. If you are giving in the room today, I'm going to invite you to hold your gift near your heart, or if you're giving it with a loved one, to hold it in your hands together. If you would like to text to donate, you can do that by texting the amount you want to give to 415-779-7613. For all those of you that have already sent in your money for this month or this week, and it's come to us already, or you're on auto tithe, or whatever that may be, we are blessing all of this week's good and all of us who sent it forth by saying this blessing together right now. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Thank you, ushers. Go ahead.
If there was only one prayer ever spoken, only one prayer ever heard, only one heart ever broken, it would be enough to speak these words. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you for everything. If there is only one love that we're giving, only one breath and one voice, only one hurt we're forgiving, it would be enough to make this choice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you for everything. There is power in a grateful heart, turning every fear into a work of art. If there's only one life that we're living, only one breath and one voice, only one reason for living, it would be enough to make this choice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you, yeah. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And so on behalf of all of us in the room, we do together accept this offering and send it off into the world to do its work of healing and transformation everywhere that it goes, beginning here in this room with us. And so it is. Sorry about that little bit of distortion. We couldn't get, and we're not quite sure where that's coming from because the original recording doesn't sound like that. But for some reason, with the piano, it does. And that's going to be true with the closing song, too, which is just the piano accompaniment to the peace song, which you all know, which is a shame because that was recorded by our musicians when I was the minister in Huntington Beach, and it's really beautiful, but it doesn't sound as beautiful on the recording. So just ignore that and sing out when we get to the peace song. Now, if you're here with us for the first time this morning, we have a couple of things for you. There is a welcome packet on the back table back there. It says welcome right on it, so you'll know that's for you. And there is a blue card inside that says welcome. If you fill that out and turn it in back there, we'll give you a little book of affirmations called Nourishing Thoughts, which are good for pretty much anything that comes up in your life, and that little gift is ours for you to take with you to apply the uplifted thoughts at any time in your life that you need them. There's also a Science of Mind magazine in that packet, which is our monthly magazine. It has meditations for every day. That'll be one of the ones from a previous month, but you still get the idea. So we invite you to pick one of those up and to fill out the blue card. For all those who helped us pull this together this morning, and I didn't quite get all of the musicians in there because I didn't put the people from Huntington Beach in, but Rob Weishner and Lou and Kenny, thank you very much for that. So I want to thank all of them and also Leslie Giannetti for our beautiful altar this morning. Let's give everybody a hand. As you know, Sue Ruta's husband, Ron, made his transition on the 12th of this month, and there will be a memorial service for him coming up at the end of April. But the message about that I sent out in the newsletter this week was not quite accurate because I had the impression that people could attend from the church. It's a very small memorial. They don't have that kind of capacity. So this one will be a private ceremony, just kind of for the family. However, that last weekend in April, hopefully, Reverend Lloyd and I will do a memorial on Sunday following the service for Ron so that Sue can be with her Golden Gate family and have a memorial for him. Now, the only tricky thing about that right now is that we want to do that the last Sunday in April when Reverend Lloyd is here with us because he's coming for Ron's ceremony. But at the community center, they have an event starting there at 3 o'clock that day in the afternoon. So we're having to try and figure out if it's going to work for us to be there to do that or not. So we'll let you know the location for sure. But right now, save the end of April for celebration of Ron's life with Sue. Also, as I said, we're returning to the Corte Madera Community Center. This is a photograph from Easter 2019. Now, we're going to be there for Easter this year, so all of you that recognize somebody in that picture who isn't here today, you go get them and make sure they come on Easter Sunday. It'll be at 10 o'clock. Our membership meeting will be next Sunday also, following the morning celebration at the Corte Madera Community Center. You do not need to be a member to attend. You would need to be a member to vote, but we have no voting at this meeting this year. It's mostly informational. So if you want to learn about what's gone on in the past year, where we are now, what we're looking forward to, be sure and come to that meeting next week. Also, there will be a report from Reverend Dr. Barbara Leger, about her ministry in Ukraine, who she's connected with there, and how they're helping with the situation there. She said they were going to begin their school program, I think this week, for the kids who are doing school online from, I guess, wherever they are at this point now. This has been a pretty stressful time, as you might imagine, for Reverend Barbara, trying to be with her people when she's here in California and they're in Ukraine and she can't go. She said at one point, my soul is in Ukraine. So she will probably not be with us physically, but we will have her reports and maybe a video from her. So you'll get to learn more about that next week also. If you want to make a donation to her efforts there, go to goldenpathofpeace.org. And also there are additional ways that you can help Ukraine for broad-based support One is Direct Relief, and the other one is World Central Kitchen, which is helping with food. I don't know how difficult it is for either of those organizations right now, but you can find out more on their websites. So if you're inclined to make donations, you can also do that, and be sure and look those up. Now, this is not actually helpful probably in terms of seeing what it really is, but if you install a heat pump heating cooling system, you can get all kinds of rebates for that. I don't know if you know that. So Marin County offers an $800 to $1,000 rebate on one of those systems, and then other electricity companies have other rebates. So consider that. If you're getting ready to change that situation in your home, this is a good thing to consider because you get some money back and you're doing clean heating and cooling, at least cleaner, and that's a good way for us to support our environment. So that's our suggestion from this week. Thank you to Arthur, Deborah, and Ellen for the suggestions they're providing for us. And now we're going to turn into our time of prayer. So can I have the prayer box, and practitioners, would you please surround the room now? As you know, this prayer box is available for you always on Sundays, and it will be also at the Corte Madera Community Center on the practitioner table. You can always fill out a prayer request and put it into the box, and the practitioners will pray on it for the full week following that. But we begin that process right now. So if your prayer request is in the box, or if it's still in your heart this morning, let's know that God and creative law know what it is that you're calling forth for greater good as we enter into this prayer together. So as we draw our service to a close today, we know right now that God is in the room. His presence is everywhere, always, in fullness. It's complete, full aliveness, power, and attention everywhere, at the same time, always, unbound by time or space. We are manifestations of that one presence. And so within us, we have access to the wisdom and the guidance that we need to live our lives in integrity with love, engaged in spiritual growth and celebrating community. And we're grateful to take this forward into our week this week and allow ourselves to be anchored even more deeply in these qualities and in our connection with Golden Gate and our knowing that all is unfolding for good, for us individually and collectively, and for Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living as that ongoing expression of God. We're so grateful to be reminded of this and to know it and to claim it. So we release this word, this prayer, into that creative law, which is manifesting it now. We let it go in peace and ease and let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes. Now please stand and join me for the benediction and the peace song, which will follow. And you'll see the words to the peace song, and you will hear the accompaniment such as it is this morning, and so sing out, all right? So let's join together in saying this. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. Okay, here comes peace song. Listen.